Oh, hell no! If it wasn't so early in the morning, I would actually genuinely scream my lungs out right now. It's been a very long while, for me at least, since Eden Zero has dropped a chapter that is to me complete and utter trash. Nothing about this chapter pleases me. It is undoubtedly ranked currently one of Hiromishima's most disturbing Eden Zero chapter. From the beginning to the end, nothing about this chapter is great. As we actually learn a little bit deeper what happened to Princess Yuna. Actually, it turns out that she is suffering from, well, which is ironic saying that from me, Stockholm Syndrome. Because the only reason why she's following Shura is because she is, yes, in love with him, despite the fact that he stripped her naked, injected a bomb in her rectum, and yeah, everything. So, what is actually happening in this chapter? Well, first of all, the princess says that she is dead because, well, she's no longer who it is. It's also closer look in this chapter. You can actually see that her eyes are lifeless, actually. And she has turned out to be a very strong combatant, saying that not even Oasis can do it. But we do learn a little bit about Laguna's past, at least. Apparently, he left the organization. He joined Oasis because he his best friend was killed, which may actually be that story he said to Homer way back in World 29 may have actually been kind of true. So, and he decided the only reason why he left Oasis was to gain power, and it just didn't matter how he could gain power. He was prepared to become the vilest, all if he could take down Nero. But either way, he tries to fight Princess Yuna, and it turns out that the red threads are actually very powerful. We also see in the flashback that about her talk about the red string of destiny. It's where she talked about in the cosmos there's someone who might be tied by an invincible friend. Someone, if you cannot see a link to someone. Laguna wondered if that was him, but of course he was just joking. But no, Yuna says that Shura is the one she is tied to. So Laguna tries to fight, but it actually turns out that the strings are powerful enough to even take down Laguna as well, which pisses me off even more. As we actually learn what truly happened to her, is the fact that she calls herself that she is not brainwashed. She will kill him because that is because anyone who's getting in the Shira's way. But the way she talks, it is obvious that she is brainwashed. This is nothing about the red string of destiny. It's just that her mind has honestly been broken so much that it's become a Stockholm syndrome. I mean, even if you look in the from the past to now, you can actually see that her eyes are hollow in the present compared to what it was before. So 3 years ago, she tried to rescue Oasis members, but which were captured by Shura, who of course proceeded to torture and humiliate her, and almost killed. And the fact that she took her out to walk is stripped naked and on a leash and walking like a town like a dog. But when she says that, she blushes, just further sign that her mind is crazy. But she also says that she is not crazy because as she did all those humiliating day, she realized that Shura was lonely because he has never loved anyone, which actually makes in a way sense. He has never loved anyone and no one has ever been loving him. Granted, who would ever love a psycho? But the fact that it's mentioning here that not even his own father loves him, yes, further shows that this was not wise destiny for Nero to take him in. Because that just means that Nero adopted Shura, but not as a son, but just as something that he was going to adopt, nothing more. So of course Shura would be married that day. So the Stockholm syndrome kicked in, and even though she was humiliated, tortured, and everything else, she began to pity him. And that was her red string of destiny, the man that she is tied to. And then something strange happened where Luna became, well, his secretary, despite the fact that he had tortured her and everything else. Of course, Laguna just calls that will of it all. But of course, Yuna says that strength of destiny's bonds. Ugh, it honestly makes me vomit to see that someone could succumb to that kind of thing at all. But that's not the word. But that's not even the biggest worst part. The worst part is when the gang finally enters the cauldrons where Shura has tortured Witch. Pino is saying that Life's signature is on the other side of the door. But when they open it, they see Witch lying on the door, lying on the floor with a crack on her side of the abdomen. As Shura says, "I was playing with the toy and it broke." As Witch lies on the floor, seemingly dead. Pino said that Life's signatures was on the other side, but are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you saying Witch is dead? And here I was promising myself not to scream because it was so early in the because it's so early in the morning, but I want to destroy something right now. I want to crush something. Everything about this chapter pisses me off. For the fact that Juna got Stockholm syndrome over the fact of everything. I mean, in a way, one could really twist the needle a little bit and say that maybe that just shows that Juna had bigger empathy because, strangely enough, what she's saying about well, Shura never being loved and being lonely. For some strange reason, yeah, that makes perfect sense. He is lonely because he's never been loved. But at the same time, who in their ever right mind would love that psycho? But something tells me we're going to get a flashback soon. We're gonna get a little bit in more depth to see exactly how did Shura become so twisted. Did he become twisted just because he simply was not loved? Or was he always twisted? Given from what we saw from the Siggy flashback, it may have just been that once upon a time Shura really was just a kind-hearted, a little curious boy. But Nero's never loving, the power of the Saturn's gravity may just have warped his mind, and this was his way of showing affection, which Yuna, in a way, just mindlessly said. But yeah, the worst part is Witch lying there on the floor, seemingly dead. And if she is dead, then I'm gonna tell you, I have not been this upset since Shiki was killed in the previous world. You know, I was this close in actually quitting Eden Zero back then, if it weren't for the fact that everything was rewind and it became one of the best arcs in the manga. But it's worth noting, Rebecca has used up all her rewinds. She cannot time leap again. And it is worth noting that Couchpo said to Witch to stay behind, trusting the friends, which once again may paint Couchpo as a questionable character. So if Witch is dead, then what? Are you kidding me? Are you saying that a character that we are not supposed to lose is dead? This is not Hiromashima's stick. He never kills off any characters. Yes, he killed off Valkyrie, but that was only because Homura was introduced. She was meant to be the successor. There is no successor to Witch. There's not even someone who can drive it. Or is Rebecca meant to be the successor? Shura says that Witch is broken, and her eyes are white, so just like Valkyrie. So yeah, she may actually be dead, even though Pino said life signatures. But the chapter ends as Hiramashima shows that iconic, extreme rage face. The face with tears and anger, as now Shiki's anger is beyond everything else. So please already, just defeat Shura. His presence is pissing me off. That's basically this chapter. Nothing else I can. It is, quite frankly, to me, the worst chapter I have read this week, which is saying something. And I mean, technically, the other chapters are not released yet, but you get my point.